All right, then we come to 1996, which is all about Odelay, my favorite album from Beck. And as you can see, there are several versions available, many of which I have, and I'll review them one at a time. So the normal US domestic release of Odelay has 13 tracks, and there is some bonus noise at the end of the 13th track after a long pause. And as far as the artwork, we've got the familiar artwork, well, familiar to those of you who know about this one. Kind of interesting stuff. And there you go. All right. And then with a slightly different catalog number, this is the UK international version with one bonus track. And so you can see here, this one in particular was made in Sweden, but I think it's the same as the UK version. But you can see here there's a 14th track called Disco Box, which is a pretty good B-side. And all the artwork is the same, except again, it's got Disco Box listed there. And probably my favorite of all the Beck releases, just because it was such a treasure hunt for me to find. It took me a while to find this one. Is the UK version with 2 extra tracks. And if it wasn't for the fact that, there's slightly different language on the sticker there. It says contains strictly limited edition bonus track. The difference is very subtle. You can't even tell by looking, but there is a 15th track, and that's a tune called Clock, which I think is a pretty great tune, one of my favorite Beck songs. And then one giveaway is the powder blue tray, so that is pretty consistent with this particular release. So it has the powder blue tray. Then we have the Japanese version, which comes with the OB strip, and this happens to come with an extra label. Has a white tray. I believe, I'm pretty sure they all came with the white tray. This one is very similar to the 14-track UK version as far as content. It only has the one bonus track, Disco Box. It does not have Clock. And of course, like pretty much all Japanese releases, it has the lyric book. And then you have it. And then we have the Australian Tour Edition, which also has the 14-track version of Odelay. And it has an extra disc, and it has some singles which are off of the Beck Tour Edition Sissy single, but I'll review that later. But anyway, so that's this. And finally, we have the deluxe edition of Odelay, which was put out 12 years later in 2008. And so this one is, it's got basically the same style artwork, very different track listing. The artwork has some variations, of course. You'll see here that we've got the 13 tracks, and then we've got a couple other singles or B-sides. Some of them are previously unreleased. And then side B has a lot of the remixes off of the singles from Odelay, and as well as some B-sides. And there is Clock on the other side of that one. Disco Box is not on this one, interestingly. So that's kind of a little bit of a letdown. So this is not really a complete Odelay release in that regard. And as far as the artwork, it's a little bit, you can see there's some variations. It looks kind of like a beat up version of the original. That looks familiar there. and lyrics for the original tracks. And then some. A couple things. This is kind of interesting to see that it looks like this, it's reminiscent of the original sticker that was on the 15-track version. It's been kind of, looks like it's been removed. And of course there's a lot of doodling and a price, and on the back there's more doodling. Property of Michael, which sometimes you see that when you get a used CD. Well, at least back in those days. And then on the back, you've got the very clear track listing. And of course, the FBI piracy warning. So while we're on the subject, we mentioned Sissy Neck. Let's go ahead and show you the two single versions I have. The standard one, made in England. Sissy Neck, The New Pollution, remixed by Mikey P and Feather in Your Cap from the Suburbia soundtrack. And then this is, like I showed you a second ago, the tour version, the Australian tour version, tour edition. Sissy Neck Burro, which is a mariachi version of Jackass, and Dark and Lovely, Devil Got My Woman, which is an older tune, and Brother. And so that's kind of cool. There's some good tunes there. And then there's the Where It's At single. Great tune. Really fun remixes. Got 3 versions that I'll show you here. This is the standard single CD, and it comes with 2 versions of, well, we got an edited version of the LP version of Where It's At, a Mario C and Mickey P remix, and then bonus beats, which is just some drum beats. And there's that. And then you got the Japanese version, which again has an OB strip as always. And this is nice because it's a EP, so there are 5 tracks on here, including Clock, which again is my favorite tune. And before I was able to find the powder-coated blue tray 15-track Odelay, this is the only way, this is the first time I was able to hear that tune, Clock. So then there's a couple other, there's basically, these are all, these are, the first 3 are remixes of, well, versions of Where It's At. Then we've got a couple of remixes of another single, Devil's Haircut. And like usual, I believe we've got some lyrics. And then I went for the LP, which is, you know, I usually don't, but this one has probably the best, at least my favorite, Where It's At remix, Makeout City, and that's by Mike Simpson, and it's a great remix. And this is the only version. Well, there was no digital version, so had to get the LP, and so this is a good. And then before we move on, I just have one comment I want to share about the Odelay Deluxe version. I love the packaging, a lot of cool stuff going on. But one thing that does bother me is regarding the content. The fact that Disco Box is missing from the entire CD is a little bit of an annoyance. Disco Box is the final track on pretty much every version of Odelay except for the US domestic version. I like that Clock is on there, but it would have been nice to have Disco Box and Clock kind of in the same order that it appeared in the 15-track UK version. And finally, they've included a lot of B-sides, of kind of Odelay era B-sides and a few remixes. But the fact that the Makeout City, Where It's At remix is missing, that is really a shame, because it is by far the best remix of Where It's At. And it's not available officially on any digital copy of, any digital version. So the fact that they missed that opportunity really stinks. So anyway, the Uncle remix is here, which is kind of a longer and weird version. That's kind of interesting, but Makeout City is just really rocking, and the fact that it's missing is a tragedy. And so that was a big miss. Anyway, besides that, I really love this deluxe version. There's some really cool stuff about it, but those things really piss me off. Anyway, moving on. Next we have Devil's Haircut single. I got 3 versions. The first 2 are the domestic releases, and then the third one there is a Japanese version, and I'm not sure if it I didn't lose the OB strip, but maybe it didn't come with one. Not sure. So this is the first one, and it's got Devil's Haircut and then a couple of remixes, and then this bonus track, which is called 000.000. Actually, I guess it's made in England, not a domestic. Okay. So I'm wrong. Okay, I remembered wrong. And then this is the second one, the LP version, and a couple of remixes, and then an older track previously unreleased in the UK. And finally, the Japanese version. Entirely different campaign as far as the look. I like the scissor there for haircut. Devil's Haircut clock is on there, which is cool. Where it's at, Mario C and Mickey P remix, and then bonus beats. And I don't think, let's see. Oh yeah, there's some lyrics there. Okay. Next we have the New Pollution, and I have only CD versions. I don't have any of the vinyl. And even if you don't like the music, you got to admit that the artwork is pretty awesome. Let's take this one at a time. This is an import from UK, and so we basically had the same version, but on a 7-inch. And looking here, referencing, well, slightly different songs with same artwork. But anyway, so here's the UK CD version, and there's our cover art there. We've got New Pollution LP version, Richard's Hairpiece, which is a remix of, I believe, Devil's Haircut, and then Electric Music and the Summer People, previously unreleased. The second UK single, again, New Pollution LP version, and then another version which is a remix by Mario C and Mickey P, and then we got Lemonade, which is a previously unreleased B-side or track there. Yeah. Next, with some different artwork, of course, the Australian version, and this one has, again, the New Pollution, again, Electric Music and the Summer People, and then Richard's Hairpiece. So just kind of a different mix of tracks. And that is from Australia. And then, as is typical in Japan, there was an extended version, so kind of an EP, and so it's called The New Pollution and Other Favorites. And so what we've got there is 8 tracks, and New Pollution, a couple different versions, Thunder Peel, previously unreleased, Lemonade, and then that 000.000, and then Feather in Your Cap, which has appeared before as well. And then, as you can guess, on the inside, we'll have some lyrics. And then for Jackass, that is the final single released from Odelay. There are two versions, the domestic US version, and then in a slimline jewel case, we've got the German version. And we've got it's a cardboard sleeve. And we've got a Butch Vig mix, which is a little bit, I think, enhanced version of Jackass. I kind of prefer it to the regular album version. And then we've got a couple of remixes, Buro and Strange Invitation, and then a couple older tracks, Devil Got My Woman, and Brothers also is kind of another nice remix with a new vocal track by Beck. And what's pretty cool about this version is that you get a little surprise here. You got a full length photo here of Beck and Willie Nelson, which is pretty cool. Kind of working in a coal mine there. And the German version in a slimline jewel case. No Willie Nelson, slightly different mix here. Jackass, Feather in Your Cap, Lemonade, and an edited version of Jackass. And then before we leave the Odelay era, there's one more novelty here. This is a bootleg I picked up, and it's called the Beck, the Odelay Variations. And I love the pseudo-sophisticated look here of Beck with the pipe. And basically, this is just a collection of all the remixes for the various singles. So very plain, almost as homemade as my Western Harvest Field by Moonlight. But interestingly, Makeout City, the very awesome Where It's At remix is here. It's the only digital copy that I know of. Here we've got a single which is not from an album. It's Deadweight. It's from the A Life Less Ordinary soundtrack. And a couple of unreleased B-sides, Erase the Sun and SA5. There's an album cover from the soundtrack. And then Beck released Mutations in 1998, and I have 4 copies actually. I've got the USA domestic, I've got a Japanese version, I've got the kind of rare German version, and then somehow or other I ended up with a promo copy as well, but no packaging with that. Here's the domestic version. It has it's listed with 12 tracks. Static being the last one, but there is a 13th track which is unlisted, and it's officially called Diamond Bollocks. And the artwork is very original. You can see Beck's face in the texture of the disc, and then kind of cool artwork, lyrics. This is a very interesting art installation. Almost like a cool museum that you'd be going into. The Japanese version. Here you can see that there are a couple of extra tracks. Electric Music and the Summer People, although that's a new version. And then there's Diamond Bollocks, Runner's Dial Zero. And if we remove the label there, Phoebe strip. Everything else is pretty much the same, although if you look at the disc compared to the domestic version, it's more of a matte finish, and I kind of like that. Beck's face is almost more subtle and ghost-like. All the original artwork is the same, except of course we've got some additional features here. We've got a little insert, and then of course we've got the lyrics. I don't read Japanese, but you get the idea. Everything else is the same. Other than, of course, there's a white tray instead of a black tray, similar to the Japanese version of Odelay. And the German version on cardboard rather than a plastic case. Back to a shiny disc. And the booklet, same. The big difference here, of course, is the track listing. After static, we've got Diamond Bollocks, but at this time it's listed. Runner's Dial 0, Halo of Gold, and Black Balloon. And so you can see the three different versions here. Static only. This one has static, Electric Music and the Summer People, Diamond Bollocks, Runner's Dial 0, and the German version has Statics, Diamond Bollocks, Runner's Dial 0, Halo of Gold, and Black Balloon. It just so happens that the German version has the three extra tracks are the tracks that are available on the Tropicalia single. If we see here, we've got Tropicalia, Halo of Gold, Black Balloon. So those two extra songs are available on the German version. So this is Tropicalia. Tropicalia, Halo of Gold, and Black Balloon. Halo of Gold is a great tune. I love the I Walk the Line reference to Johnny Cash's famous song.